So in 3D, what happens is this, right? If you have three axes, let's say x1, x2, x3, right? The equivalent idea of a rectangle in 3D is called a cuboid. We all must have heard of it, right? Cuboid is basically shaped like this, where you get a cuboid like this, right? So the equivalent in n-dimensional space is called a hypercuboid. And of course, cuboid can also be represented using if-else conditions. You can say if x1 is less than, let's say, 5, and x2 is and x1 is greater than 2, and similarly x2 is greater than 1, and if it's less than 4, similarly for x3 you can say if it's between 6 and 8, what you get is a cuboid here, right? Of course, it's hard to draw three-dimensional diagrams in 2D unless you're a good artist. So by just using if-else conditions, what we get is a very good understanding. So here we're connecting the humble if-else in programming to cubes and cuboids and hypercuboids. Similar idea in n-dimensional space, right? So it's very, very important to remember that if you have an equation of a line as x1 equals to 2, right? What does it mean? It's actually a line, right? Because what is the general form of a line? It is w1 x1 plus w2 x2 equal to 0. Now plus of course w0 if you want to put a value here, right? Now my w0, so let's connect these two, right? I have a line like this, x1 equals to 2, and this is the general form of the equation of a line, right? What is it equivalent to? It's equivalent to my w0 being 0, my w1 being 1, my w0 being minus 2. If I just replace these values, what I get is exactly x1 equals to 2. So a simple line like this, x1 equals to 2, basically gives you an axis parallel line. This line here is called the axis parallel line, right? Because it is exactly parallel to one of your axes, in this case x2 axis, right? This is a very simple idea of what a simple axis parallel line is, what axis parallel rectangles are, and how simple if-else conditions that we all know in programming are connected to coordinate geometry.